Chapter 6. Harper. The laughter was still ringing in my ears when the house began to thin out. Elise and Noah excused themselves first, whispering something about getting a jump start or getting ready for dinner. Camille slipped past with water, a bottle, and a soft smile, Jordan trailing behind with that protected hand on the small of her back. One by one, the afternoon turned into evening, siphoning people off until only he and I remained. He was Lucas. He stayed planted on the couch as if the night wasn't coming, as if dinner wasn't planned, as if the next hour wasn't cocktails, drinks, music, more board games like charades. To him, though, time itself just decided to allow him to sit still. His cards were still scattered on the table, his drink unfinished. He stretched his long frame, leaned his head back against the cushions, and shut his eyes. I lingered, not ready to follow the others, not ready to surrender him to whatever he was doing. There was something unfinished between us, something that I had started and that he had beckoned for, something that was building this evening, something that had been building for a while, but we couldn't name it. I slept closely, sitting at the edge of the couch, my knee brushed against his thigh. He didn't flinch, though. He didn't move. He just breathed slowly and steady. I wondered, is this how he coped? Shutting the world out until it was nothing more than a blur he didn't have to answer to? "Lucas," I said softly, my voice swallowed by the quiet. He didn't open his eyes. I watched him with the dim light, the outline of his face, though his jaw twitched like he was grinding something down behind the silence. And before I knew it, the words slipped from me, words that weren't supposed to belong in this moment, but somehow did. Lucas Jacob. His eyes opened, sharp and awake. For a second I thought he might ask me why, but instead he just looked at me, like really looked at me. The name hung between us like a secret I shouldn't have known, like something that tethered him to another place, to another time. His eyes stayed on me after I called him Lucas Jacob, but he didn't speak. He just waited. He lingered, like he always did, making me do the work of filling silence. I asked him, "Do you even value me?" The question scraped raw on the way out, but he'd been sitting in there all evening. He blinked slowly. "Value you?" I responded, yes. My voice cracked, sharper than it meant, like beyond me just being here, beyond the way I fit next to you on the couch or follow you into these weekends. Tonight, when we were playing, I feel like I was myself. I laughed, I teased, I connected. Elise actually looked at me like she got me. Even Noah, he listened. And for once, I don't feel like I had to pull back. So I ask, do you value me? Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm going through? Do you even know how I feel? Lucas sat straight up, rubbing a hand over his face. He gave a little exhale that could have been a sigh or a stall. "You think I hold you back?" I corrected him. "I feel like you do. Like when I'm with you, I shrink. Not because you make me, but because you don't know how to draw it out of me. Don't know how to meet me where I am. You don't know who I am." He shifted toward me, elbows to his knees. "I'm not sure you're being fair. People connect in different ways. Maybe you just resonate more with them in social settings. It doesn't mean I don't value you. He paused, eyes narrowing as he could reason his way through this too. "I don't always know how to show it the way you want, but I value you." There was analysis instead of heart. I waited for more, something unpracticed, vulnerable, but his words just sat there like pieces of puzzle he couldn't finish. I shook my head, not angry, just emptied. You don't even hear yourself, do you? That's the problem. You talk around it, about it, never to it. You look down at his hands, flexing them like they might give him a script, but no words came to him. The silence was an answer enough for me. I leaned back, pulling my hand away from his chest. Whatever thread had opened when I called him Lucas Jacob was already closing. He hadn't stepped through. From the kitchen, a faint sound of pots clinking reminded me of where we were headed to this evening. It was about to be happy hour and the last dinner before everyone packed up in the morning and broke the spell of the weekend. I stood up, smoothing the wrinkles out of my dress. I looked at him and I told him, playing the role once again, "Babe, we should get ready." He glanced up, but he didn't stop me. For once, I was glad. I left him on the couch, the stillness of the room pressing in behind me. The hallway lights were softer, almost golden, catching on picture frames and half-unpacked bags left by others. The house left and felt too big, too full of echoes and brand new shadows that swirled around and didn't exist before we all came through. I found myself in the bathroom, and as I turned on the faucet and let the water run, cupping a little into my palms just to cool my face off. And at that moment, I looked in the mirror, and I didn't quite recognize the girl that was staring back at me. My cheeks were flushed, my eyes were brighter than I wanted them to be, and I hated how easily Lucas could pull that out of me. Not even through action, but through absence. Through what he couldn't do. Through what he couldn't say. From down the hall, I caught Camille's laugh, light and clipped, fading quickly, as if she was already disappearing into her own night. The door shut, the house shrank even smaller for me. For a moment, I thought about slipping into one of the other rooms, about asking Elise how she thought the game went, or even just standing in the kitchen with Maya while she chopped vegetables and prepared the dips and got all the chips and crackers into the bowls. Something to remind myself I belonged to the group too, that I wasn't tethered to the heavy silence Lucas left behind. But I didn't. I stayed where I was, in the bathroom, fingers braced against the counter, listening to the pipes groan as the water slowed to a trickle. Someone had just finished showering. The truth was, tonight had been the first time in a while I felt like me. With the cards in my hands, with Liz grinning across the table, and missing Noah, making so many dry jokes and walling them back and forth. There had been no filter between her and Elise. No shrinking, and I don't know, I felt even more connected to him than I did to Lucas. I laughed too loud, I teased, I drank happily, merrily. And no one had looked at me like I was too much. Except Lucas. He looked at me like he was just waiting for the round to end so he could get back to his normal. I wanted a new normal. I wanted me. I pressed my lips together, rinsing out my teeth, the weight of it pressing down harder than I wanted it to admit. By the time I had changed into something simple for that evening, I could hear the faint clatter of dishes being laid out on the dining table, people laughing over dip, and my chest tightened. This was the last dinner, and the last stretch before morning sent us all back to real life, and Lucas and I had gone through probably the most earth-shattering realization that we could have. I stood in the doorway for a long moment, listening, willing myself to step in, to step forward, and to not shrink, as I heard Lucas and the guys yelling out, "We're going out for more drinks."